The image on your screen is the helmet of Daniel Ricciardo during the Barcelona Grand Prix weekend. The message which had been written with a marker reads, "Not without a fight." Today, we know that the Aussie has succumbed to that fight, but the question is, who in the Red Bull organisation was trying so hard to oust him? The fallout of Daniel Ricciardo's exit continues with the new revelation by Christian Horner regarding how the Australian was thrown out of the team. On the face of it, it had looked like the Aussie himself had called time quit on his career, but indeed it was Red Bull who pushed him out all along. The team has refused to formally announce the departure of the Aussie for fear that his fans were going to boycott their energy drink. Indeed, Ricciardo has been the face of Red Bull, a stark contrast to Verstappen, who is never seen smiling. The Dutchman's looks are not as viable for advertisement. Ricciardo has been the backbone of Red Bull's effort to sell more cans. We would also like to remind you not to be fooled by Red Bull's business model in Formula One. The sport is just an avenue for them to remain permanently on people's screens as they try to eclipse last year's 12 billion drink sales. Red Bull had fumbled the ousting of Daniel and the team is trying to save face. Horner in his latest interview has given an insight regarding the exit of their driver. Following the sacking of the driver in 2022 by McLaren, it should be noted that it was Horner who orchestrated the return of the driver. The Brit pushed hard for his return and sure got his wish. In an interview with F1 Nation podcast, Horner expressed his admiration for the driver. When he walks into a room, he lights up the room with his infectious smile, before expressing his disgust for Ricciardo's penchant for drinking from his boots. The most disgusting thing was drinking champagne out of his sweaty boot, but that's something he's embraced and made a lot of people drink from his shoe. But right after this, Horner did well to remind the guys at corporate who was responsible for his exit. In Barcelona, Marko wanted him out of the car. The reason is we can sense that those at the team's corporate headquarters are not happy with the sacking of Daniel, and perhaps they must be seeing their engagement and sales data plummet. In response to this, Horner has offered him a chance to remain with the team in an ambassadorial capacity. Horner and Marko have never been best of friends, and the only reason Marko's seat is secured is because Verstappen had made it abundantly clear that if Marko leaves, he will also leave. While all this is going on, Marko has been acting as though he played no part in Daniel's exit. Like a green snake under a green grass, it's like telling a guy to get the hell out, only to turn back and wonder why the person actually used the door. The Austrian has now revealed that the driver has been offered a job to drive in promotional events at the wheel of Red Bull cars in cities around the world. "We have had some conversations," the 81-year-old former driver told a German website. "With Daniel, we are clearly interested. He is one of the most popular drivers, especially in the United States. I don't think he will go racing in other categories, but on the other hand, if he were to stop racing, then why would he want to do this kind of PR work? He has already earned a lot of money, so it's up to him to decide how he wants to imagine the future." Ricciardo has, however, seen through the hypocrisy and had refused to commit to Red Bull in any shape or form. In fact, Ricciardo had already ruled out the possibility of returning to be the third driver for Red Bull, confessing that accepting a role on the bench was only the first step to preparing for his return to the track after leaving McLaren. At the same time, the Australian driver had also admitted in the past that he could be interested in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. As we await the next step that Ricciardo will take, a second job offer has been made to the Australian. He now has the opportunity to race full-time again. In an interview with News Corp, Supercars chief Shane Howard opened the door for the former Red Bull driver to make the move back to his home country. "I think everyone would welcome Daniel with open arms, absolutely," Howard said. "Would we like to see Daniel Ricciardo in a supercar? 100%. Just imagine if he could be in one of our cars and race in a new street race in Perth. That would be something special, wouldn't it?" The Supercars Championship is among the world's premier touring car competitions and is the home of the Bathurst 1000, one of the most prestigious motorsport events in the world. It is now left for the driver to decide what he wants to do next. Should Ricciardo leave the Red Bull organisation in its entirety, or would you recommend he takes time off to clear his head and determine what to do next? Leave us your thought in the comment about this. On our end, we would still like to see him as a Red Bull ambassador. Better a Daniel Ricciardo than a David Coulthard. This is Front Lockout, signing off.